comes to something when you say that some cigarettes smell better. Anyway, Rob will be talking about that from 3 o'clock this afternoon. A couple of years ago, Luke Newman went to Nakuru in Kenya with his father Steve and his brother Paul to help at St. Trizah's School. That's a poem.
It does sound a
story. Soon after, the school was told that they needed to move location, but this would mean that they'd need to build a whole new school. So Luke is hoping to raise enough money to make a trip back out to Kenya to help build the school. Luke, what did you see when you went 2 years ago? Describe Nakuru to me. I made reference earlier on to first world problems and how actually, we use the term glibly, but when you go somewhere like that, you'll understand what it means. Well, what did you find?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. I've missed you since I was here last time in February. It's something like when you see like on Comic Relief, you see the celebrities going to these sort of towns and cities, and you see the children and the adults there with nothing, with no electricity, no clean water. That's the kind of place that Nakuru is. It hasn't got any of that kind of thing. And I have to admit, I was worried about going in the first place because you don't know how to react. But as soon as you get there, you realise how happy the people are there. They don't know anything different. They don't know about social media. They don't know about internet. They don't know about smartphones, the things what we probably take for granted here in this country.
Don't they miss comfort?
Well, they probably don't miss it because they don't know about it. But that's what I love about it. It's like you embrace it. I think that's the key word that I'd speak to anybody who asks how you feel about going. You embrace their experience, you embrace the children. Over here, and rightly so, there is restrictions of cuddling children, and because we know that, and rightly so, but over there they want cuddles, they want to feel loved, they want to feel like you're there to see them especially.
Paint the picture for me. Whenever I try and get a sense of a place, I think in terms of smell, and I mean this in the nice way, by the way. I think in terms of almost what I can taste on the tip of my tongue. I think just paint that picture for me. Go through your senses. What do you hear? Is it noisy?
It's not noisy. Again, there's not many vehicles. There's a few motorcyclists. It's actually taxi motorcyclists, so they actually take them from A to B. And when we were there, it's 26, 27 degrees, and they're all in coats because they think it's really cold. And when we get over there, it's like Sahara.
We'd be quite happy for that.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, there is kind of places where there is some smell. We go to a place called the Dump, and it is a dump where all the rubbish takes there, and there is 70 to 80 families who live there.
Who actually live on the dump?
They live on the dump.
So what do you see? You've got all of these vestiges of plastics and boxes.
Yes.
And they're living in and amongst them.
They live amongst them. They live in there with animals as well. The 70 or 80 families that live there, they actually get paid to go through the rubbish and collect steel and bottles, and they get pence for bottles.
So they've got living accommodation with their jobs?
Well, tents.
Yeah,
they live in tents.
That's what I'm saying. It's an ironic way of putting it, but they're actually earning income from living on a dump.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. As soon it was like, we were lucky when we got there that a dumper truck arrived, dumped out all the rubbish, and it was just the people. There must have been 70 or 80 people just swarm all over the rubbish to search through them. But again, they are happy. This is what they know. So yeah, the smell is there on places like that. The smell is in toilets in the schools because they are holes in the ground.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Flamingos.
Yes.
The reason I say that is I've just gone to Google and I've just typed Nakuru and gone to Google Images, and there seems to be millions of pink flamingos.
Yes. That's Nakuru National Park.
Oh, okay.
Because we go for 2 weeks, we do have a couple of days off in between on the weekend, on a Saturday and Sunday, and we do go to National Park.
Why did I not know there were flamingos in Kenya? I feel
we did see them, and it is a beautiful sight. So we go with an organisation called African Adventures, who send people out to Kenya, to Ghana, to many other countries who need help. And they're an amazing organisation. I've been going for a number of years now, and if I could work for them right now down at Southampton, I would do, because it's an amazing organisation. I love what they do. And it's for anybody who wants to go. If you're a college, a university, a school, there's a lot of them that go out to these countries to help. And I would recommend it to anyone. My 17-year-old son will be coming with me next year. And Reese has got a social communication disorder, and he finds it hard to bond in a group. But this is going to be an ideal situation. His idea that he wants to do this,
Just looking here at the pictures, what's interesting is that it is built up. I mean, I had an image of it being perhaps a little bit more, a little less urban actually. But this is a city.
It's it's a growing city. It's actually the fourth biggest growing city in the world. And 2 years ago, we were lucky enough to be actually invited to the Deputy President of Kenya for breakfast. Now, what we didn't expect, we thought this might be an hour drive. It was half a mile from where the slums were. It's literally the Kenyans, the poor are very poor and the rich are very rich. And you do have buildings that are like 5-star hotels, but then right next door to them you do have the slums. In Nairobi especially, they have the biggest unit of slums per person in a slum in the world, and that beats Rio de Janeiro as well. So it's...
What do you eat out there?
That's one thing I'm dreading. I have to admit, I'm a bit of a fussy eater. But out there's rice, there's pancakes, there's eggs, there's sausages, and you adapt with that as well. With spaghetti, it's amazing food. The portion sizes aren't great, so when you do go out there for 2 weeks, you come back a half stone lighter, which is good news for everyone. But you adapt to it. I think because you know the surroundings the people you're with, and what they're eating in Nakuru, you understand that as well. So the food's absolutely fine.
The school itself, why has it had to move?
The land that the school was originally on was actually sold by the brothers of a father who recently passed away. So we've had to move the school from, I think it's around 5 miles from where it is right now. So we've literally started from scratch. We had a piece of land. We've built 8 schools in 3 years. And we've been lucky enough that last year we were able to open half the school up. So half the children at the old St Trizah site have now been moved over, but half still remain. So the next year or 2 years, our job will be to continue to build more schools, more classrooms, and also hoping to build a dormitory. Because at the
why are these not funded locally?
I'm not going to go political, but the Kenyan government are very...
I'm not going to go political. However, the government...
The government, again, it's the rich are very rich, the poor are very poor. Not much is helping for the poor right now. We take a shipment every year out of clothing, stationery and shoes, and even that's also been cut down. We can only take second-hand clothing out there now because the Kenyan government has stopped and restricted some of the stuff we can take out there. I think that's because they want the economy to run a bit better out there.
Okay.
But if they were looking after the poor better than they are right now, we wouldn't have to do them kind of things.
You're going to be going out and building bricks?
Yes.
Sorry, building with bricks.
Yes.
Not building bricks.
Yes, we've been, again, because of the funding we've had and the funding that comes through from our fundraising, we have been able to actually buy proper bricks and actually use them. They get delivered to the site because the last 2 years, previously from last year, we've had to make bricks up there on site. They've been sitting in the sun for 3 days and then we put them on. So a lot of things have been progressing a lot quicker last year.
So you need to raise money to get back out there?
We do.
How much do you need to raise?
We do need to raise £7,650, and that takes myself and my father and my 17-year-old son. We've got a lot of fundraisers coming up. We've got a black tie ball fundraising in Sandy, the Holiday Inn, on the 8th of October. Tickets are still available. And then we've got a craft fair coming up on the 13th of November at the Webley Centre in Biggleswade. That's free entry, and it's got R2-D2 crafts. But it's got R2-D2 arriving, Iron Man and a Captain America minion going to be there as well. We've just recently had a fundraising at the White Hart in Biggleswade for an old school garage R&B and hip hop night, so that was fun as well.
Should have invited
that was good.
me.
So,
probably from my time that one.
What we do as well, we do look for business sponsorships. So if anybody wants to get in touch, that'd be great.
Best way to?
I've got a Facebook page called Educate Everyone Everywhere, or you can even contact me on my email address of luke.j.newman@hotmail.com.
Okay, and you've got a fundraising page, haven't you?
We have, yes. Just Giving page, yeah. That's entitled on my Facebook page as well.
So go to facebook.com/everywhere.
Educate Everyone Everywhere.
Good stuff. I hope you get your target and continue to make that difference in Nakuru in Kenya.
Thank you very much.
It's Nick Coffer. You're listening to BBC Three Counties. I'd love to do something like that. Absolutely would love to do it. Just for a couple of weeks, just to really go and make, at least go and try to make that difference. Must be a fantastic trip to do. I've got Robbie Williams lined up next.